Hello everyone, welcome, greetings to another Defcamp Melderon TV video. So this one's going to be very different from what I'm usually doing. This video is going to be a guide for people to make their own classic WoW, retail WoW, whatever, content. I feel like a lot of people have great ideas and they want to jump into making content, but there's significant hurdles that they're afraid to even, think about or try and stuff like that. And I'm here to show you that it's easy and 100% free to make quality content. And I'm not talking about breaking into software. I'm talking about using 100% free software that's supported and used by a lot of different people. So let's get started. And we're going to start with the program that is the base of everything. And that's Open Broadcaster Software, or OBS. Now, there are two versions. There's OBS Standalone, which is not attached to Streamlabs, and then there's OBS Streamlabs, which is more for people who want to stream. We're going to be working with OBS Standalone because most people who get into video creation won't be streaming. And you can still stream with OBS Standalone, it's just not attached to Streamlabs. Streamlabs makes things a lot easier, putting in different doodads and widgets and stuff like that. So, let's get started with OBS, which OBS is what I use right now to record. And if we open up our browser, we can download OBS from obsproject.com. And the best thing about this program, and actually all the stuff should be showing you, it's usable on definitely Mac and Windows, but maybe also usable on Linux if you're using a Linux software or operating system. So OBS is pretty easy. You just download it. And you install it, and it comes pretty well equipped. I'm going to bring this over and show you what it looks like. So this is what OBS will look like when you're in. I'm going to move my my face here so you can see it. So basically OBS is set up with scenes and sources you can think of as layers. A scene is something you want to do, like a certain preset. I'll show you some of my presets here. Like here's my AV preset that I'm going to be doing with Atticus later on tomorrow. So I create all this custom art and all these different layers and stuff like that, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. So the one I made for this video is called Video Test. And all it is two things right now. It's a video capture device, which is my camera, and a display capture, which is the capture of my monitor itself. If I switch to WoW, I'll move my thing over, you now see WoW, right? Whatever's on your monitor, I have two monitors, whatever's on your main monitor, that's what's going to be shown. So we're going to move this back over. And it comes pretty well equipped right when you start, but this is the settings window, and I would spend some time in here. I would open the settings window and look at all the different settings you can actually do. The most important things you're going about is the output. Now, I can't change these things because I'm recording at the moment, but recording, you just pick your path where all your videos will go to when you're done recording. You pick your quality. Right now, mine's set at high quality, medium file size. And I highly recommend exporting in MP4 format, not FLV, which is like a Flash version. I wouldn't do that. Set this to MP4. I use hardware encoder. If you have a really, really super amazing graphics card, you could change it to software. But this is what my settings look like. As far as audio is concerned, I just have my default. You can set like, I want the audio to come through as default, or I have a certain mic that I want to come through, and I just set it as default. So whatever my default settings are. Here's my Windows thing. Whatever my default is, that's what OBS is going to use. So once you have that stuff set up, it's honestly really easy to use, guys. So once you have a scene and you name it, you can start adding sources. So the two sources I have, like I said, are video capture device and video display capture. Or display capture, excuse me, which is your monitor. You can use a game capture. So if you just want to record WoW, you could use a game capture. And that's fine, but I highly recommend playing around with display capture because you can move things around and show people different things. And while you're recording your video, you want to pull your Internet Explorer up and say, hey, look at this. That will allow you to do that. If you just have game capture, you won't be able to do those kind of things. So this is what the setup looks like. I'm not really happy with my portrait. It's too big in my opinion. It's very easy. All you got to do is pick it up and drag it and move it around and say I want it in this corner, but I also think it's way too big. Well, you just pinch here, and you make it smaller. Pretty easy, right? Now, what if you want to crop the image? What if, let's say, I don't want people to see this painting for some reason, or my bookshelf? If you hold down the Alt key and use this anchor, you can actually crop how big the image is. We'll leave it alone for now, but as you can see, it's very easy to crop this. So most people making videos maybe want to have something else on the screen instead of just the WoW that's playing in the background. Maybe your face, maybe an image. So let's say I want to put my Defcamp Melderon TV image, like our logo, on the screen as like a watermark. You go down to the plus sign. Let me move my face again. You go down to the plus sign. You go to image. And we'll just say Def Mel icon. Hit OK. Browse. And I know mine is in YouTube. So I go to YouTube. I go to New Art. And there is my PNG. So I click it, hit open. Hit OK. And now this gigantic image is here, right? Now it's way too big. So we're going to make that smaller. I'm going to drag it up a little bit and keep making it smaller. Now this is a very large image. That's why I have to keep doing this. But as you can see, what I'm doing is just resizing it over and over again until I get to the point where I like it. And it's just a high quality image that someone made for me, Brandung Media. And he does great work if you want to make your own thing. So here's my watermark. Say I want to put it right here in the top corner. So now when my video is going on, you'll see that watermark no matter what's happening. So we have 3 layers. You can make as many layers as you want. Like my AV thing, look how many layers I have here. I have tons of layers that are on the screen. So as you can see, you can really go crazy with this. Like each frame is a layer, these GIFs are a layer, this image is a layer, this text, all these things are different layers. I have a screen capture in the middle. You can resize the screen capture and overlay different screens. You can have multiple screen captures. You can go nuts. But for this video, we're just going to be using 3 layers. My camera, this image, and the overall screen capture. So I'm going to move this over to the other monitor. And now you can see there's WoW in the background, my face, and my watermark. Perfect. So we're recording here, and I'm going to run around and do my thing and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to go over and let me kill some stuff. So just come in here, charge, just get some footage for the video. So you're like, oh, I want to make a leveling, deep dive or leveling guide on a warrior, I'm going to show people what the best rotation is or whatever. And you're going to just keep doing stuff like that. You're just going to keep pulling mobs. Pretty simple. So now let's pretend this is like, okay, I have this footage, right? I want to use this footage and I want to put it in my editor, and I want to add some flavor stuff to it and some text and some images, and there's some alliance here. Let's just do it for the video. For shits and gigs, let's just charge them, see what happens. Why not? It's like, oh, World PvP video, I'm obviously going to die here, but for the video, we're just going to show it. I can't do that yet. No, not too bad. Anyway, so you guys see the point, right? You go in, you get your footage, and then you hit stop recording. And that's however long that footage is, you stop recording. If you want to make another scene, you can just start a new recording, and then we can stitch those things together in the editor. Very, very easy to do. That's it. So I'm going to end WoW for a second. So exit game. And now you'll see my desktop should be popping up, or the browser, okay? So now we're back on the main browser. I'm going to hit stop recording real quick and then restart, because I want to use that clip that we just did in the editor to show you how to edit it, okay? So we'll be right back. And now we're back here. So you downloaded OBS, you used it to get some footage, and now you want to edit it. What I highly recommend is Davinci Resolve. It's a free software made by Blackmagic Studios or Blackmagic Design, and it's just a very high quality editor for free. You can buy their big boy version. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see that you can download Davinci Resolve 16 for free, or their Davinci Resolve Studio 16. This has a lot more stuff, but for our intents and purposes, this is going to be perfect. So you just go and download this. You can download it for Mac, Windows, or Linux. Like I said before, on all 3 operating systems, they work perfectly on all of them. So once you install that, you're going to come into this. So this is the editor. Okay. First step, most important thing is to go to File, Project Settings, and change your timeline frame rate to 60 FPS and your playback frame rate to 60 FPS. This will make sure that your video is high quality. Now, if you drag in a video into this already, it'll say, hey, this is a 60 frames per second. Do you want it to be that? You hit yes. But if you throw an image in there first, it's going to set it at 24 frames per second or 30, and you don't want that. So either go to File, Project Settings, and change that, or drag in your video first. Okay, so we're going to go to my videos. The one I made earlier, this is the first. You can rename them, of course, but this is the one we just made together. So I'm gonna click it and drag it right in to here. Okay, so now I have my video file. Now you don't have to do this, but if you want to do well on YouTube, it's important to have like an intro clip or something like that, like a stinger, what we call them sometimes. I unfortunately have one. You know, I paid an artist to make it. Brandung Media, like I said before. I'll make sure his link's in the description if you guys are interested in contacting him. He's a very, very talented artist. So I'm going to drag in, I have this channel intro, and I'm going to drag that in here. And I also have like an outro that I use, which is just this banner. So now we have our 3 pieces of video that we want to use. I always drag in my channel intro first. So as you'll see here, now we have our first piece of media. It has an audio track and a video track. The video track is obviously what you're seeing. The audio track is what you're hearing. You can make as many audio and video tracks as you want on here, but for now we're just going to use one. So I'll let it play. And you can see that that is playing in the background, right? And all you have to do is pull your video down here. And I'm going to turn the desktop audio down a little bit so you don't hear myself talking over myself. So you won't hear anything right now, but you'll see this comes through. And then boom, look. So that's the video itself that I just recorded, right? So now this is pretty meta. So I want to go to the part where I started like grinding on my warrior. So you can like just go over this way, blah, 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 pass all this stuff. Okay, and you'll see here, this is when I start like recording my gameplay. It's about right here. Okay, so we're going to use this cut tool. We're going to go to where the playhead is. This vertical thing is called the playhead. And we're just going to click our cut, and it's going to cut it right there. We're going to go back to our select tool, select the part we don't want, right click, cut. Okay, we're going to pick this guy up, drag him all the way back. Of course, you can zoom in and out to make it easier to drag. And now, boom, our video starts exactly where we want it, here, where I'm like running around on my guy. Now, it looks choppy because it's kind of rendering it as it goes. But remember, when you export it, it won't look choppy at all. It'll be 60 frames per second. So that's very important. Just if it looks choppy here, it doesn't mean it's going to be choppy in the finished product. Okay? So this is kind of what I want. This is my video footage. And I want to have nice transitions, though. You don't want to just go from this, like a hard transition like that. You want to either fade in, which is very easy to do. You just go over here, and the cursor will change to this arrow, and you literally fade in. So now watch. It faded in. Do you see that? Very, very nice thing to do. We have our footage here, and it fades in nicely, and we see our character running around and stuff like that. Let's say for some reason you don't want to see this second Crocodilus kill, right? So now you're making this kind of weird cut in the middle of your footage. So the way to make that look better is to cut here, cut where you want it to end, go back to your select tool, remove that piece of footage, bring them back together, and what I recommend here is using some kind of smooth transition. So if you go over here, move my camera so you can see what I'm doing, you go to cross dissolve, and that's kind of like a dissolve, and you drag that over in between those two pieces. And we're going to make that a little bit bigger, and watch what happens when the playhead crosses that. it fades into the next thing. So you're going to be doing this a lot when you're recording, and I just recommend either using the fade in, fade out, or the cross dissolve. Remember the fade in, fade out are these things up here, and the cross dissolve you have to like drag over to where you want to put the cross dissolve. 90% of your editing is going to be something like that, right? It's going to be like either a fade or a cross dissolve or just cutting in and out. Easy stuff to do. Now, a lot of people though are going to want to add text to what's going on. Now, if you go over here to titles and text, you can literally drag a text box anywhere you want. And let's say for some reason I want it right at the transition. I can click on the text box and say, I made a transition. You can change the color, you can change this font, you can change the size, you can do anything you want here, guys. You know, you can change its position by doing this. You know, you can do whatever you want. Drop, shadow, stroke, background color. The limits are endless. And then there's text plus, which allows you to do like 3D text and like it's going in and out and stuff like that. We're just going to do a simple text for this. So we're going to make it fade in and fade out. So during our transition, we'll be playing it. It'll say, I made a transition, and then it'll transition, and then it'll go away. I can't stress enough that like most of your editing is going to be stuff like this. You could make some bonker stuff. You can be like, you know, I want to have this thing swooping in, all that stuff. The programs I'm showing you are very simplistic, but they get the job done. All of my videos, all of them, have been done with this program. This free program. Are there better stuff? Is there better stuff out there? Absolutely. You can go crazy and try to either, you know, I don't recommend this, but breaking into or buying the Adobe softwares, which, you know, Photoshop, stuff like that, make your own custom art. You can do those things. I'm not saying you can't, but for people who just want to jump into this and don't know how to do video editing, this is the way you do it. You can always scale up from here, but I highly recommend starting somewhere around here if you've never done video editing before. Okay, so our video is almost done. We have our intro. We have our footage. We have our text box, and we have me getting ganked over here. And then this is the end of my video, right? So my end of my video looks something like this, where I log out. So I want to end it there. So I want to cut off the remainder, cut that out, and I want it to fade out. Okay, and I also want the audio to fade out. You can also fade in and out audio. So it's like, okay, the image fades out, and so does my audio, and it fades out nicely. Now for YouTube guys, remember the last 20 seconds of your video is where those end tags can go. Those like, you can put up those like, subscribe to me, or go to my Patreon, or like, look at my other videos. Those pop up in the last 20 seconds. I generally put a banner for that last 20 seconds, so people can just see that stuff. You may want to put it in your footage. Totally up to you. It doesn't matter. Just remember the last 20 seconds is where that stuff happens. And that's more on the YouTube side. This isn't a YouTube guide. Maybe I can make one of those one day if you guys are interested. But that stuff's pretty well annotated online. You can find YouTube guides everywhere. But I don't think there's really good quality stuff to how to make videos, especially for Warcraft people. So this is 1 minute and 45 seconds. So for some reason, Davinci starts counting at 1 for the hours. I don't know why. Instead of saying 0 hours. So this is 1 minute and 45 seconds and 23 milliseconds or whatever unit. So we want to go up to 05. So 2 minutes 05. So if you go to 2 minutes 05, right around there somewhere, that's 20 seconds. So we're going to extend this out, because this is an image, so you can extend this out forever if you want. This is just a still image, and I want to end it right about here. I want it to fade in. I want it to fade out. You could put some music down here if you want. Let's show people how to do that, just in case. You'd open your browser, or wherever you put your music. Mine's in background music. And let's say I want the Stormwind thing there for some reason. So here's the Stormwind music, and you know, you can cut that here so it ends. Actually, let's start here, because that's really loud in the beginning. Cut that out. Bring this over. We want that to fade in as well. and we'll cut right around here. And now you have your video. Now let's say it's too loud. You can click on the video portion of the track and you can change the volume here. Okay, very easy. And let's go. So we're going to let that play. You won't be able to hear it because I want you to hear my voice, but there's music playing in the background right now. I'll put it up for you so you can hear it. Okay? Easy. And you might be like, well, Melderon, how do you get these like sound files? There's many ways you can do it. You can look online for them, or you can rip audio off of a YouTube video. And I'll show you how to do that as well. So there's another piece of software you're looking at, and that's called 4K Downloader. So 4K Video Downloader, this is what I use if I ever want to download another YouTube video, I use this. It's very, very good, very easy to use. I'll move myself again. And you download this, and once you do, it looks something like this. I'm going to let that open for a second. So this is what it looks like. I downloaded a background AV video for some music. So let's say like you want to get an official piece of audio from World of Warcraft. You just go to YouTube, and let's say you want Stormwind music from vanilla. Okay. Here's here's an hour. Here's 11 minutes. But you're going to say, oh, Melderon, I don't want to download the whole video. I just want the audio. Hold on a second. So let's say this is like a long Stormwind music, right? So you hear so you can hear it. This is actually not from vanilla, but it doesn't matter. For this intents and purposes, we'll just show you how to do it. You copy this, so Control C, or if you're on a Mac, the Apple C or whatever. You go to the 4K downloader. You hit paste link. It already knows what's on the clipboard, so it's parsing that information right now. And here is that video. Now you can download the video and the audio, or you can just rip the audio. You'd hit extract audio. I'd pick the highest quality, pick where you want to put it, and hit extract. And it will literally take the video, download it into a temporary file, rip the audio track off, delete the video track, and leave just the audio track. The link to all this stuff will be in the description, by the way. So 4K Video Downloader is the next piece of software that I recommend, and this is also totally free. So now you have your finished product. You're happy with it. You want to show it to the world, okay? Once you're done, make sure you hit save. Always save your projects. And I would recommend saving your projects every 5 to 10 minutes, because it always happens that this software crashes for some weird reason, right? And then you lost all your edits. You do not want that to happen. Save, save, save. You go to this rocket, which is the export. You go to YouTube, 1080p, or if you're using a newer version of Davinci Resolve, it may just say 1080p. It may say something else, but 1080p is what you want for YouTube. You want to change the file name to test. I'm going to change it to test. You can put your file name wherever you want. Hit browse. I want mine to go to the desktop. Hit save. I highly recommend using an MP4 format. YouTube likes it better. Everything usually likes MP4 better. And the codec, don't worry about that. Resolution is what your resolution should be. Frame rate 60 frames per second. Add to render queue. Start render. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to go through the video, and it's going to render the video and export a file that has all our changes in it, the music, everything. As you can see, it's rendering right now in front of us. So I'm going to minimize this, and while that's rendering in the background, we are going to look at our last piece of the puzzle, which is creating a really good thumbnail. People will say, oh, clickbait thumbnails are shit, blah, blah, blah. The reality of it is, if your thumbnail looks like shit, no one's going to click on your video. Do you have to do crazy stuff like put a face on it like someone like that? No. Melderon doesn't do that. I don't put memes. I don't put my face on it. I mean, there's some talk that the YouTube algorithm preferentially treats those types of thumbnails higher. I don't care. I'm not going to put my face looking like this on a thumbnail. It's just not happening. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. You may have success with that. It's just not happening on me. So Another free piece of software that I highly recommend is Pixlr. Now, this is an online Flash-based editor. There is a newer version of it called Pixlr E, which is going to phase into, so the Pixlr editor is going to become this at some point. I don't recommend using this yet because it's still in beta and they're still fixing a lot of bugs and they still have to add more features to it. So for now, I'd use pixlr.com/editor. This is the editor I've always used. You will have to have Flash installed for it to work. It should work natively on Chrome. If it doesn't, you may have to finagle with Flash a little bit, and Chrome will warn you, this is Flash, are you sure we're going to run it? And you say, yeah, this is a safe website, everyone uses it, it's fine. So our thumbnail starts with a blank slate, at least mine do. And it always has to be in a 16:9 aspect ratio, because that's the perfect ratio for YouTube. It doesn't have to be gigantic, it just has to be 16:9. So let's actually do 16:9. We'll do 1600 by 900 pixels. We'll hit OK, and then we'll get this blank slate. Okay? I always start with a black blank slate, and it's because I use vignettes. And if you vignette on a white background, the vignette looks white, and I don't like that. You can change the how zoomed in it is. I usually go 65% so I have more room. So this is our background. This is going to be the background of our image. Now you need, obviously, a background. You can use screenshots from the game, which are very high resolution, very, very good, or you can search for images. So if you go to like open up a new tab, let's go, I don't know, Barons, WoW. Hit images. Here's a whole bunch of potential backgrounds you can use. Here's a Barons picture that's pretty sweet. I always use a background from the game usually. I'm going to use a screenshot that I have, but you know, Google image search is your friend. I cannot stress that enough. Just make sure the size is big, because if you have a small choppy picture, it's not going to work well. Like 600 is kind of bad. 1200 by 780 is not bad. 1900 by 1020, or sorry, 1920 by 1080 is the native like big, like that's usually your monitor resolution, but you could go bigger than that though, depending on your monitor. So here's a really nice one. This is like 1134. So we're going to actually use this because I want to show you how to force it to be a different size. So we're going to use this. We're going to save image as. We're going to put it on our desktop and we're going to call it Barons. Save. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our editor. We're going to File, Open Image, go to barons.jpg, and there it is. It's 1134 by 709. It's not 1600 by 900. So if we go to image size, uncheck constrained proportions, because we might have to squeeze it, 1600 by 900. Okay. Now we're going to image. We're going to edit, select all. You can use the keyboard shortcuts. I'm just going to show you how to do it without the keyboard shortcuts. Copy, and then we're going to go back here and paste that in. So there is our beautiful background. You can get rid of the other one. There it is. That's your thumbnail background. Okay? Now, you may not like the fact that this zebra is like here because your text is going to be here. At least that's what I recommend, and I'll explain why. You could always invert this image. So go to image, flip canvas horizontally, and now the zebra is looking that way. And we're probably going to block him out with a PNG or something. So that's kind of where I want it to be. So we're going to do a filter. I highly recommend using vignette and use the standard settings. This makes a nice little cinematic look of your background. I always like the vignette. And you can also saturate, like saturation's your friend. So go to adjustment, human saturation, and pump that saturation a little bit up, and those colors really pop. And that's really nice. Okay, so now we have this beautiful background, and we're going to add some stuff to it. Never put the text on the right hand of the thumbnail. The reason being is because when you look at a YouTube video, let's go to YouTube. Our video is done rendering, by the way. Okay, and let's just play any video. Let's do Frontier. Let's do, Platinum WoW's video about the old gods. And so as you know, what do you see on the side here? On the right hand side, you always see how long the video is, that little black box. If you have text there, it's going to get chopped off by that little time thing. So if you notice, like Vice puts Vice over here. Hot Ones puts their Hot Ones logo over there. Everyone does it. I mean, Platinum puts it up here. As long as it's away from the timestamp, that's where you want your text to be, okay? So we're going to go back to here, and this is our background. I always love to use PNGs, and the PNGs do have a transparent background. So if we go to like a search and we type in Warcraft PNG in images, these are all images that have a transparent background usually, and you got to make sure that it's transparent. So I'm not sure if this one is. So if you right click and go to save image as, it looks like it might be a PNG, but I doubt it. Actually, I don't think it is, because it has a solid white background. You could remove that. If you know how to do that, that's great. There are some tools online, and even in Pixlr, where you can kind of use a magic wand and select everything that's white and then delete it and make it transparent. But I really like to start with a transparent image already. So here's one that's pretty cool. This is of an orc. So we're going to save image as. See, that's a JPG. See what I mean? So if you click on the actual thing, hit free download, now it's downloading the PNG, okay? So you can get caught with things like this. Make sure you don't do that, okay? So we're going to call it orc, and we're going to put it on the desktop. And now we have our PNG. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. These are the fonts. I'll get to this in a second. So now we have a PNG we're going to use. So we're going to File, Open Image. We're going to go to Orc. And as you can see, this is our Orc. And he has the checkered behind it means it's transparent. Okay? So I don't know how big this is. This looks to be pretty small. It's about 500 by 796. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to go image size. Let's do 800. See how that looks. So we're going to select all, copy, paste it in, and that's the size that I kind of wanted. Now that zebra, you can kind of still see that zebra in the background, but that's okay. For this, this is just a test. I want to show you how to make thumbnails, okay? Remember, always check the saturation, make those colors pop a little bit more. That looks good. This is your best friend. This layer styles button, so remember, it has layers just like OBS does. If we put this underneath layer 1, you don't see our orc anymore, right? If you put it over layer 1, there it is. So you can play with these layers in Pixlr and put things on top of one another. So we're going to hit this button. We're going to hit outer glow. We're going to go to color and go black. And as you can see, there's like a really slight black border around him. We're going to pop the hardness up a little bit, pop the size up a little bit. And we can go crazy here. We can make it really thick. We can go insane. I kind of think that around there looks good. So now you have this nice black border around the orc. It makes him pop out a little bit. You can still see that zebra a little bit, but that's okay. That's totally fine. Again, you can mess with this image, move it around, and make it look better. So now we have the start of our thumbnail. Okay. I always put a World of Warcraft Classic logo. So we're going to go File, Open Image. And I have mine in here. I have so much stuff in here, it's crazy. Okay. So here is the World of Warcraft Classic image. I'm going to drop this to about 800 pixels, because right now it's pretty big. And we're going to, of course, select all. We're going to copy it, and then we're going to paste. So there's our World of Warcraft Classic logo. Nice, right? This is a PNG you can find on the internet. Just type in World of Warcraft Classic logo on Google Image Search. You can find it and download it. So again, always check the saturation. I like to make those colors pop. That looks really good. We're going to hit this again. We're going to go to that outer glow. We're going to make it black. And we're going to make it pop even more with some glow. Okay. So now it looks great. Now you have this space for your text. Font selection is important. There are good blocky fonts. People like blocky fonts. But if you really want to go for that Warcraft feel, you're going to try to download things like the text that's used in-game. And there's 3 pieces of text that I recommend. Frizz Quadrata, which is it's a text you see a lot in game. It looks like this. And you can just download these things. So this is not a free download, apparently. You can find this stuff for free. Let's see, download for free. Okay, here you go. You just download the zip. In Windows, all you do is you download it, you open up the zip file, and there's going to be a .tff in there. You literally just double-click it, and then Windows does the rest, and installs that font. You can delete the file afterwards. Lifecraft is the next one I recommend. This is like the World of Warcraft font. Okay? You can download this. And then there's Morpheus. Morpheus is the font in your quest log. This is also a really good one. Okay? You can download all these fonts and use them. Remember, if you download and install a font, your browser won't know it until it relaunches. So it won't be available through Pixlr. Do not download fonts in the middle of your making of stuff, install them, and then close your browser, because you'll lose this. The downside to Pixlr, even though it's free, you can't save your progress. You can save just this image and then come back and put text there. Let's say this is your standard background you want to use for all your thumbnails. Well, then you just save it. This is your template, right? You just save it as a JPG, put up high quality, call it template. This is what you want to use for all your things. Hit OK. And now you can save it in the desktop or wherever you want to put it. And now you have this image. And that's saved now. You can't mess with it anymore. You can't go back and mess with the layers anymore because the layers have been rasterized into that image. But you can always come back and put your text here if you want. So let's do that. So I'm going to use a font called, it's German, Haytenschweiler. Okay? We're going to use that. And we're going to put my first, and it's going to be video, but you'll see why I'm doing 2 layers here. Let's make it white. And we can make it bold if you want, but let's just increase the size. So my first, if you go over 200 font size, Pixlr gets really wonky. I would stay at 200. So there's my first. Okay, I'll try to put it in the middle of the image. That might not be perfect, but wherever it is, you're going to hit the layer thing. You're going to hit the outer glow. You're going to move this so you can see it. Put the hardiness all the way up. For text, hardness should be all the way up, and increase the size. So now it says my first. That really pops, right? Now we're going to put the word video, but we're going to do it in this awesome little color and put a gradient behind it. People love gradients. So let's use a blue gradient because our background is kind of brownish. I want to have some contrast. So we're going to go to this new tab. We're going to type in blue gradient. You can always make gradients with the shapes tool, but I just find it way easier just to download a gradient. I want something that's kind of bright. I like that. So we're going to save image, put on the desktop, background. Okay, and then we're going to open that up. We'll choose background. Okay. This is huge. We're going to make this a lot smaller. Let's make it 300, and then we're going to make it really wide for some reason. We're going to make it 1,000 pixels wide. So now we kind of distort it. We're going to file, edit, select all, copy, and we're going to paste that in. So now we have this really weird background right here, Melderon. Why the hell is that there? Bear with me. We're going to make another text layer, and we're going to say video. If I could spell video, that'd be nice. We're going to make it bold. I'm going to do it in a different. I'm going to do it in a little bit of a different font. I want it to be a little bigger. And remember I said if you go over 200, things get kind of weird and wonky. You can always make the size of the image smaller so your text can be bigger. Whatever you want to do. Let's see. Arial black looks good. All right, so we have this image. We're going to move it around right here. So now we want that background to be in the text, okay? And the way you do that is first you rasterize the text layer. So you go to layer, rasterize layer, and now this video is no longer text, it's an image. So once the layer is rasterized, you're going to actually use the magic wand tool. You're going to hold down shift and you're going to click on all of the letters, and that's going to select the black portion of the text essentially, okay? Once that's selected, you're going to go down to the layer that has your actual background. You're going to click on it. You're going to go Layer, Add Layer Mask. Now you're like, where did it go? Go to your video, the actual text rasterized video, click on it, and then uncheck. And now your gradient is there, okay? You can go to that layer. You can add an outer glow. Just like your other text, you can make it big, you can make it pop, and you can move it around. There you go, your first thumbnail, my first video. Again, very bare bones, but this is how you can make really, I mean, using nothing but free software, we made a pretty nice thumbnail in my opinion, guys. Just make sure you hit File, Save, and you put that, let's say, thumbnail. JPEG works, just put up a high quality, hit OK, and now it is there on your desktop. Easy as apple pie. Maybe not easy as apple pie, but as you can see, by just going in here and testing and trying things out, it'll work for you, I promise. Now we're going to look at our finished product. So if you go, test.mp4, here's our video. I'll turn the audio up for you so you can hear it. So it's coming here to charge, just get some footage for the video. So you're like, oh, I want to make a leveling, deep dive or leveling guide on a warrior, I want to show people what the best rotation is or whatever. And you're going to just keep doing stuff like that. You're just going to keep pulling mobs. Now remember, we made a transition here, so it should transition soon. Add some flavor stuff to it and some text and some images, and there's some alliance here. Let's just do it for the video. For shits and gigs, let's just charge them, see what happens. Why not? It's like, oh, World PvP video, I'm obviously going to die here, but for the video, we're just going to show it. Can't do that yet. No, not too bad. Anyway, so you guys see the point, right? You go in, you get your footage, yeah, and then you hit stop recording. And that's however long that footage is, you stop recording. If you want to make another scene, you can just start a new recording. Okay, you get the idea. And then we can so I'm going to lower this so you don't have to hear it. And then as you see at the end of the video, you should see a transition to that still image where you're going to have your end screen stuff. So see it's transitioning. Boom. And the music's playing. Guys, that's it. OBS, a editor I recommend, Davinci Resolve. Pixlr, which is an online editor, photo editor, and 4K downloader. Those are the 4 things that I recommend having. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you have some input that you want to say, oh, Melderon, this package is better, then yeah, tell us in the comments, help the people out. I want this to be a video for people who want to make content. They can come and watch it and improve their quality and understand how to make videos. I think there's a lot of talent out there, like I said before, that people just don't tap into because they're afraid to take the first initial step. So hopefully this made that step easier. If you have questions, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer them. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I've done obviously pretty well knowing what I know, and you could potentially do way better if you have a knack for editing. So thanks for watching. Keep on and grinding, and like and subscribe if you enjoy my stuff. Take it easy, guys.